Hey, folks, and welcome back to NECC Overwatch matches for the day. If you are just joining us, I am Waffles for Sid, and this is LaFon. We will be bringing you all the action for this next matchup here in our Navigators Cayenne division. LaFon, we're about to see Blugold Esports Blue face off against Lincoln Christian Esports, and both of these teams are currently undefeated, only been week one. So curious to see what kind of heat they're going to bring.
Yeah, last week, Blue Gold Esports Blue went 3-0 in their map score versus Lincoln, or not versus Lincoln. Lincoln went 2-1 in their map. These teams are facing up against each other for the first time here this week. So obviously a little bit of a separation by a single map in terms of score line, in terms of positioning. So exciting to see how these two teams kind of play up against each other. Always a big deal, right? And that's why we play all three maps, of course, in these games. But for the moment, I think something we've kind of touched on in every single match we've kind of attended, and for good reason, is that every team has had their own identity, right? I think that has
Yeah.
been critical across every single game that's been streamed. To a certain extent, Overwatch has historically been a place where you kind of play what's good, right? And there isn't a lot of variance in that sense. In that sense, pardon me. But I think now we're seeing a lot of unique gameplay from every single team, Waffles, and we've come across, I think, like 6 or 7 different styles played out, oftentimes not in a mirror composition. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. And the last line you said, oftentimes not in a mirror composition, is one of the more exciting lineups that I personally enjoy seeing that diversity and how how each characters actually interact with each other in creating and capitalizing on the opportunities that their teams are creating for both of them. Like you mentioned, we are going to go to all three maps for our games today, starting off here at Busan. So, a lot of open, long sightline potential. We've seen some brawl come through on this play or on this map, but we're about to see what the teams are going to pick for their lineup and get a bit of a better assessment.
For sure. And other thing to know is that as we kind of get set later into the match, I think uh, this composition, whether they're obviously on this map, you can play a lot of rush, you can play a lot of that head-to-head sort of style, that smacking against each other in the Reinhardt mirror. But if that's going to be different as they get to the next couple rounds, eyes on Lincoln Christian with Epic Slasher on the Doomfist. That one punch potential can be a difference maker early in the fights, and if they can shut that
Yeah.
down, that could be huge. But Blue Gold definitely have their work cut out.
So much damage potential to come through. Blugold Blue is going to be on the point first, though, thanks to Rixer and her speed boost. They've gone ahead and set up around this side drum here, which is a pretty common engagement area. Blugold has taken the space here, and they're trying to push Lincoln out of it, and GTD goes down first. One shield out of the picture. Rixer, though, is taken down from the Doomfist. We talked about that huge pick potential, and it looks like Lincoln has decided to back off and give space.
Lowe's doing a good job of providing that spacing on the Reaper just to make sure that the Doomfist doesn't get any more value. And I think in that particular engagement, the Lucio is not as important as the Reinhardt. So Blue Gold are going to take the first capture percentage here, and now Lincoln Christian on the back.
Engagement coming through from Epic, but it's just a little bit of a dance and decides not to go ahead and charge straight into the heart of Blugold there. Lincoln moving around the side as GTD falls very low. Oh, no, all the resources were thrown at him, but they weren't quite enough. The focus fire was there from Blugold, and, well, he went down in the process. Oh, a big pick in response, though, onto the opposing Reinhardt. And, well, Lincoln is trying to press forward a little bit here around this corner. You've got to respect this amp matrix, though. And, well, now that it's timed out, they can get aggressive. There's been a pick, but another exchange in the process. Oh, man, they have been evened up, but Lincoln trying to find the traction and move along forward with the con.
It's going to be the Deadeye just to buy time and space, get the picks back into position, because Blue Gold Blue are still fighting at a disadvantage here.
The Nano is committed as well. Jaskin's trying to take down this Reinhardt, who's been reinforced by the sound barrier from Rixer. Everyone from Blugold is beefy. They've been stunned. Lincoln trying to continue, or Blugold continuing to capitalize on that and hold this point strong. 69% and pounding in their favor. They haven't given it up once.
There's going to be eventually the commit turned over here, but it's been a nice hold from Blugold B at this, and they actually get the Earthshatter out as well. So Link and Christian are being forced to commit to this, and it's not done quite yet.
Holy cow, they're already at 88% and counting still up. Blugold is doing a great job at wringing out every last little bit of percentage in their favor. There's been exchanges back and forth, and it has just been a constant battle between both of these teams non-stop. Overtime bar has been triggered here, and Grav is online. J-Skin's gonna have to make some big plays if he's gonna turn the tide of this fight for his team. Epic Slashers coming through with a meteor strike, closing the gap here, straight onto the point, looking to beat that big damage. And oh, Rixer gets punched straight into that wall as the point is finally flipped over the first time in Lincoln's favor.
Blugold B doing a good job of staggering it out and stalling and forcing Link and Christian to commit. That being said, NECC will have the Graviton Surge here in this next fight, and I don't know that Blugold has the requirements to kind of deny it. So Defense Matrix going to have to be a big difference maker here.
Stun came through on the GTD, but he doesn't go down, just manages to get that shield back up in time. Grav has been thrown right in the face of Blugold over there on the far side as Money Matt is unhindered and free firing away. The rockets close down on Raspberry and she gets taken out of the fight as more people from Blugold Blue follow suit, and Lincoln holding strong.
A good fight, though, for Blugold B, despite being taken out as a team, right? They actually get rid of both tank ultimates from Link and Christian and the support ultimates as well. So now Blugold B are going to have the resources to return. Sound Barrier, of course, but Raspberry with the Earthshatter, she's been spectacular on the Reinhardt so far, and all eyes on the main tank here to try and just provide some separation.
Matrix is used to open up the fight. Fireheart trying to bring the heat for his team, get them moving forward and get that damage done. Stun comes through, taking down Raspberry a little bit from that Doomfist, but it is a scrappy fight. Both Reinhardts are removed from this equation and the teams are evened up, but Logos goes ahead and takes more down with that Death Blossom. Epic Slasher is trying to make his magic happen as the DPS for Lincoln, but the point is flipped over back to Blugold. Overtime bar trickling down, and they are going to take this first round.
And I have to say that was really good re-aggression from Blugold. Understand how I made that mistake, but in this next, or in that round, obviously we saw, the concept of giving up the objective when you didn't have goal, going in for the next fight where they had better economy, forcing Link and Christian out to use all those resources, and then coming back in with your own better utility to win out the fight. And so yes, the scoreline may have said 76% for Link and Christian, but Blugold really was in control, I think, for most of the round. Now, for Link and Christian, obviously when they had the opportunity to kind of get that ult dump, they were able to win out the fight. And I'm looking for that earlier in the round from them. If they're able to turn the point around, then it could be a much different story here.
I agree with you there. We'll have to see how they can roll out and keep the point in their favor. Blugold has already taken up this high ground here and trying to make sure they keep that vantage point and know exactly where Lincoln are moving around. Dive comes through way towards the back here from Raspberry, putting the pressure onto both supports. Everyone had to scatter away. Lincoln responds, grouping up a bit more as an exchange has happened between both teams. Lincoln has lost that main tank once again, though, and it is almost a repeat of what we saw in the first round.
That's, and again, this main support not getting nearly as much value as the main tank. Logs, though, gets caught out a little bit, and getting sheep down means that this rush composition is going to be able to walk into the objective. Basically uncontested.
Yeah. Raspberry trying to get that pressure here, but does fall very, very low. Needs to regroup and get some resources. Money Mats goes down, which was a lot of pepper damage from those off angles. And oh, Rixer does lose that duel against Reinhardt, and that much more damaging hammer coming through. Nano is committed in response to Mastery's Amp Matrix as Lincoln are trying to continue to turn this fight in their favor. Blugold does not want to give up any amount of percentage, and well, finally, it looks like they're going to be able to clear the rest of them out and take this point back.
Not quite done yet. With that Fire Strike missing Raspberry, they're forced to chase after just a little bit more. And so, I mean, Blugold, yes, they're not quite in this fight, but they're going to be able to re-engage pretty swiftly, as Link and Christian has to play a little bit more, reservedly as a result. So, this Graviton Surge, I think, when Blugold B comes through, is going to have to really use aggressively.
Stick comes through. GTD does not fall after that, though. There's enough resources coming up to keep him alive and keep him in this fight. Oh, that was close for MX. Close to that. McCree, closer than, the flashbang in process. He almost has that high noon charged up and ready to go as well. But can Logus get any value with this nano or this blade instead? Lafani didn't even need it. You can just normal dash reset through everybody, and it feels like a blade.
Yeah, this is going to have to be the reset now for LC Lincoln Christian, because there is no... the big problem when you have a composition as aggressive as the one Blugold is running is you kind of have to be more on point with your attention and your tempo, right? You have to be the one that's aggressing first. And you see Lincoln Christian actually lose the fight with 4 ultimates, nearly 6. So there needs to be a little bit more committal from Lincoln Christian in terms of the ultimate.
And it seems like Blugold are attacking Lincoln from so many angles. This time, though, Logus does go down, punished for such an aggressive dash into that CC. And now Blugold is a little bit on this back foot.
Oh, what a
They
block.
are down a man, and well, look at this. GTD just continuing to cleave forward and take down player after player. Oh, the fight continues to break out here as Lincoln looking to flip this point and take their possession back, resetting Blugold.
I don't agree with the Primal Rage from Raspberry, but they did a pretty good job of blocking the Earth Shatter from GTD Games. So, perhaps one good play deserves the opposite, but a little highlight there. And now Blugold, they give up the point without much contest. And for Lincoln Christian, that's the most ideal situation. You only use 2 ultimates, and you're right back in the situation that you found yourself in earlier. And this Graviton Surge needs to be used early, though. It really, really does.
See how they want to engage here. Both teams on the point as the bubble already committed from J6 onto his friends. Looking for that grab. It needs to be early. There it is. 3 people grouped up in it. Oh, Logs going for the back end kills, though, getting so many people sliced and diced with that blade. There's still exchanges all over the place here as the point continues to tick up in favor of Lincoln, and they continue to pull ahead inch by inch in this kill feed. MX trying to pull out hero plays, but finally taken down at the end. OT bar has been triggered, and now Blugold trying to do everything they can to keep it alive and stall on this point. A valiant effort by Rixor here, and well, now her friend Raspberry has joined the fight. Raspberry trying to do everything they can to stay alive, and the Nana goes in for the grenade. Not quite enough as Lincoln continues to combat the flood of Blugold trickling in, trying to stall this out this last little bit. All in all, it's going to be a map win here for Lincoln Christian.
Yeah, we get to go to stage 3 as a result. And that was the ideal situation that Lincoln Christian found themselves in, right? Better advantage in terms of resources, and then using those resources. That is the critical difference, I think, from round number 1, is that in a situation where you just have the better ultimates, using them allows you to win out a fight, right? We saw the Graviton Surge catch 3. There was no real way for Blugold to kind of defend, and as a result, there was just 3 players down. So, that's what you like to see. That's what the sort of aggression and execution you like to see from Lincoln Christian, and it bodes well for certainly the rest of the series.
Yeah, and they did win that second round and had a lot of great back and forth comparatively to the first round, and I'm curious to see how they're going to continue to bring this aggression. We have the Symmetra showing for Lincoln, so that is a lot of, well, it's damage, but it's going to take time to build up and be super deadly, whereas Blugold has the Junkrat and the McCree. Oh man, you do not want to get hit by either of those primary shots coming through. Right now, Blugold trying to push forward, but wow, that anti from Master Yi was nasty, forcing them back a bit and forcing out the immortality field in the process. MX Thick is out of the picture, and now Lincoln has the doors open for them to push forward and just cleave through Blugold once again.
A lot of pressure coming in from Epic Slasher on Symmetra. That just damage throughput, it's so immense that no one could quite contest. We saw Epic Slasher walk up and MX Thick just go down instantly, right? So we saw how much damage that was there. So Lincoln Christian finding the value, quicker speed to the objective for us through the teleporter, and now we've got another teleporter as well. Perhaps a teleporter shatter play in plan, in progress.
These anti-nades coming in from Master Yi have been absolutely nasty. They're forcing out the immortality field almost every single time, and well, it really set the tone of this fight for it to be in favor of Lincoln before Blugold even had a chance.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a full reset. And I mean, GTD Ames just putting down the Shatter into the projected area as a sort of a, oh, what are you going to do about it, right? Not much. They still win the fight super cleanly. Nano Boost is available as well. You can use it on the Zarya, on the Reinhardt, as people coming through the choke. This could be a big difference. Oh, what an
Another anti! 5 out of 6 people caught in that. You cannot push forward after that. GCD trapped in the Junkrat trap there, but the damage had already been done. Master Yi, absolutely a master of those grenades.
They're gonna get stagger kills as well, so they cannot even punish the fact that the Reinhardt is out of position, walking back on. I mean, without the shield though, if Prosper can find a timing here with this Shatter,
Maybe not.
Not in time.
Darn. That anti-nade coming through though, yeah, you want to res Master Yi, bring back that grenade in your favor. It has been shutting down any attacks from Blugold that before they can even make it out of this choke point, Lafon.
That being said, there's actually the trades coming do quite well for Blugold here. They've kind of been uncontested as they walked out of spawn, and now they have the spacing to kind of work with.
Oh, caught out in the back as well. MX Thick manages to take down Master Yi, and now Blugold flooded all over the point and took it in their favor literally at the last possible moment.
That being said, I mean, even with Epic Slasher likely going down here, there is so much available for Lincoln. Teleporter 2 to get back to the team, so not even
So
going
smart.
down. Yeah, huge. I mean, look at this. Like, it's 5 ultimates for Lincoln Christian. The mana boost is going to be online midway through, up to 70%. Blugold, they don't have a lot to work with, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
It's really about execution. And I mean, I've made a note of this the whole time, but with, yeah, you just have to use the grabs on here. You have to.
Yeah. There's already been an exchange of both DPS players. Grenade comes through, finding a couple people, and, well, we'll have to see what yields for the follow-up damage. Fireheart has gone down, and Blugold looks like they are on the run as Lincoln continues to push forward. Epic Slasher just so charged up here on this Symmetra, laying down the turrets and the pressure. OT bar has been triggered once again, and now Lincoln looking to burn it down and has taken our first map of Busan.
And what a first map. It's been, I mean, the fact that it went to 3 rounds, yes, but both teams showing control and composure on the first and third map respectively, right? Like that was, I mean, that was a one-sided third point by Lincoln Christian. And after how the first objective went, that is, the fact that you're able to turn around that quickly in the map itself is really impressive. So, credit to Lincoln Christian for resolving it that quickly, right? Resolving the issues that quickly to be able to bring it back into the round.
Yeah. And from those team cards there, you can see that both J6 and Master Yi had hordes of participation in those kills. I mean, I was talking about those anti-nades at the end there for that last round because they just lob on through and shut down any potential forward movement. You can't get healed. No resources can be pumped into you to keep you alive longer. And more time during control means the other team's getting more possession. And that is a tough place to be in when you need to push forward and get in on that point.
That's for sure. I mean, that being said, the series is not even close to being over yet. We still have 2 maps at the ready for us, so we'll get to those in just a moment.
Hey, folks, and welcome back to NECC Overwatch matches. Today, we are here at the Navigators Cayenne Division, seeing Blugold face off against Lincoln Christian. LaFawn, we're about to go into Hollywood and see both these teams face off once again. It was a good back and forth for our control map, and what are your thoughts going into Hollywood?
I mean, exciting stuff, first of all, right? That was a strong map number one from both squads, really. It was 2-1, as you said. And I mean, heading into Hollywood, the thing that kind of comes to mind is that Blue Gold B were able to kind of flex around, right? We saw the Reinhardt composition from them. We saw the dive composition as well that was actually pretty reasonable. And then, obviously not getting quite as much value on the third stage as they would have liked. But clearly they've got the flexibility within them. And as they kind of post up here, defensively, it looks like they're running the double. I mean, they're running the double shield with the Echo. So this team seems to be a team that likes to control sort of the map based on the composition they play. Whereas Lincoln Christian has chosen just the Reinhardt composition all the way through and try and force it to work. And so far, I mean, they're up 1-0 in this series. It's been doing just fine.
Yeah, and I am curious to see, if it's gonna keep doing them fine or if we're gonna see some people smarten up a little bit to the tactics and the approaches going on with this Symmetra coming through once again from Epic Slasher. This TP potential could be really tough for Blugold to combat and respond to. It's going to draw a lot of pressure and make them have to turn their heads to other threats around them from different angles. So far, though, they've bunkered up on that high ground and are just continuing to shoot from above and prevent Lincoln from really having an easy entrance into this area. Archway's defending strong, and LaFawn, they're going to have to create any kind of opportunity for themselves. There it is. The TP has been dropped down. They fled onto the high ground, and everyone's trying to get lasered down here from Epic Slasher. Does manage to take down one person, and Locos goes down, but at what cost? Lincoln has lost a couple of players and managed to take down MX6 in the process, but they have got to move forward and keep pushing onto this point. It is tough here for Raspberry as they continue to hold strong.
Yeah, it's going to be just the Symmetra left alive, and trying to get out is Epic Slasher. But I think the one thing here is that Blue Gold has a ton of healing through, right? With the Ana, with the Baptiste, there isn't a lot of, I would call, mid-fight support in terms of like damage boost or, something to that effect, but or a speed boost if you're the Lucio. But they have a lot of ability to both heal and debuff, right, with the anti-nade and then the immortality field is defensive ability. And so Blugold B, as long as they can hold this high ground and continue to put spam through, are in a very, very strong position. Because how are you supposed to assail a Junkrat Echo Sigma when any spam damage you do gets taken out immediately? So
yeah.
Blugold B have put themselves in a position where now for this first ult cycle, they're ahead. That's, they've got the duplicate, they've got the supercharger. It really does come down to the timing here.
Blugold here is very bunkered up on this high ground. This is exactly the kind of comp that Orissa's love to run to, and this extra off-angle damage that has been coming through from MX Stick has been absolutely crucial in continuing to break Lincoln Christian from the bottom there. Right now, a couple shields went down, but LaFawn, this double shield tactic has been rotating so smoothly for Blugold.
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't even really used much, right? It's still available. And I think that the question is, not only that, Lincoln Christian has just run out of time. A minute half remaining as they get their first real fight.
And they have to use the wall to engage as well, just to mitigate the damage coming through from the high ground. Man, that Tire takes down Master Yi before he can use his immortality or his Amp Matrix, and now Blugold continuing to get the kills they need. Lincoln threw a lot at this push, and it was not quite what they were looking for.
Not only did they throw a lot at this push, their opposition did it, right? Just two ultimates, both DPS ultimates that were committed in that fight, and I mean, comparatively speaking, considering you needed the photon barrier just to get to the objective, that spells a very strong position for Blugold B, because they're going to have the supercharger, they're going to have the gravitic flux. How do you walk into that much damage when you've already struggled against the spam? I think for Lincoln Christian, you have to play under the threshold of the high ground here, use the teleporter, and then just get to the objective.
And that is much easier said than done. I Personally, this would be a tough approach with this Junkrat and the Echo. All of this incoming damage is absolutely nasty. They go for this TP straight onto the high ground once again, as other people from Lincoln continue to flood on towards the point. An exchange has gone down of both tanks, and we'll have to see who can capitalize more. A couple of turrets come through as Money Matt trying to find those kills. He's got Visor online and is going to be looking for targets. Grab is thrown, but no follow-up there. NECC goes down in the process, and now the Visor has been popped here from this side area, trapped in the hallway and taken down by Raspberry. Logo's trying to cover the ground and move forward fast and take space here, but Lincoln coming forward did manage to get one tick in this process. Another one goes down, and now they have set up on this point.
This is going to be the overtime capture from Lincoln Christian. It took them everything they had and then some. Blugold are going to have to go back to the drawing board on their defensive setup. But I mean, they forced to overtime, so only 2.5 minutes remaining here to get through the second phase of Hollywood. And they still have that utility that is so critical in this game, right? So for Blugold, as they set up defensively, Raspberry can switch over to the Diva. They're going off the main tank for the first time in this series. Back to the Reinhardt. Okay. So choosing to contest like with like as they try to get the Reinhardt mirror here.
Raspberry gonna have to try and play the, shatter shield games as well when the time comes, but it'll be about who can also charge up that Earth Shatter a bit faster. Epic Slasher is getting aggressive, and well, with the DPS here on this high ground, it is gonna be tough for Blugold. Blugold trying to displace them a bit by using their own elevator. Those shields have been nasty, and they have been utilizing them very well on rotation. J6 gets knocked off the ground there a little bit, but it is still Lincoln pushing the payload here, regardless of all the incoming damage from NECC.
Speaking of, it's just going to be Epic Slasher being caught out here by Raspberry, who's chosen to walk forward.
Oh, pins left and right, duplicates all over the place. Lincoln had a good amount of push coming through, and well, the fight got scattered in all directions now, and this Valkyrie pop is going to be helping everyone stay alive and continue to be aggressive here on Lincoln. Right now, Lincoln pushing this card, and well, Blugold needs to get back if they're, I don't know if they're going to be able to contest Lafon.
No, they're not going to get the second point contest at all, and that's really well played by Lincoln Christian. They've forced no fight. It's going to be the Junkrat on card, but it's just a little bit of spam damage, nothing else to be really said. And this is going to be the third objective unlocked now. So Blugold, I mean, here is going to be a tough ask for them. Can they just slow the bleeding, essentially? Because Lincoln Christian have found the momentum that they were looking for and have just followed up on it quite cleanly. And GTD James, rather, looking to try and change this aggression into a Earth Shatter.
Wall has been committed from Lincoln as well. Earth Shatter thrown, and I think that was a shield from the Sigma to block it just in the nick of time. Raspberry and GTD James go down in the process. There are no Reinhardts in this fight anymore, and Blugold stabilizes and holds strong.
Ooh, the anti-age is a little too slow to keep MX the F, but it's a single pick, and it may not yet be enough, especially with the Nano Boost online here.
She was so charged up, both Zarya and Epic Slasher, two high-powered beams that you do not want to go up against. Logos was shredded immediately, and now Rixer has gone down to follow. Right now, Blugold is on the back foot. This tire's going to have to be crucial! 3 kills with the tire. That could change the tide of this fight easily for his team, as now he's going to come back and continue to put the damage in. Both tanks are putting pressure, but Lafon, they're going to be able to stabilize.
Yeah, Lugs with absolute hero play from the high ground. The flank tire is the one that you least expect, and Lincoln Christian get taken down quite quickly as a result. So back to the drawing board, 40 seconds remaining here, as it is do or die time now for Lincoln Christian. They have the Graviton Surge again, they have the Application Matrix as well, and if they can get these two to work in sync, then there's still potential here, but it really does come down to execution for Lincoln Christian.
Oh, there's a lot of people surrounding Logs there, and he manages to fall down and get away in the nick of time. James has also been taken out of the picture. 20 seconds left, and Lincoln has grouped up here in this high ground, just taking the pepper damage as they will. They are waiting a little bit probably for James to come back with that Earth Shatter, and well, the clock is ticking. Amp Matrix popped here, and they are going to initiate that aggression. They're trying to push forward with their own grab in response as well. They've thrown the sim barrier. There are ultimates all over the place, and it is Lincoln coming up big with their aggression and in the kill feed. They continue to push forward. This Tire finds 2 kills, 2 big kills, but it's not enough. Oh man.
Yeah, the overtime spawns are just too strong there for Blugold Esports B, as they are just not able to get back to contest despite only having a half HP Reinhardt and Zarya left on the objective. For Lincoln Christian, that is just enough to get them across the line, and critically in overtime. So now Blugold B, all they have to do is complete the map, and if they complete the map with more than a minute remaining, then they will prevent Lincoln Christian from a second attack run. So a win condition established for both sides. We know what the effect, the outcome needs to be. We'll see what Blugold B is able to bring on their attack, because that was a lot of stall from them through both stages A and C.
Yeah, and in particular, I was really impressed with their point A defense. It was an absolute onslaught of bullet damage coming through from them to prevent Lincoln from even being able to cross that archway. They were not able to take point A until they had thrown almost every ultimate into the fight to engage and mitigate all that damage from Blugold. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to try and continue to keep that momentum forward. And with this Symmetra that Epic Slasher is once again showing, how they're going to push into such a nasty bunker.
Definitely the question on everyone's mind. But I think, here we're going to see a little bit more mobility from Blugold. We saw the dive composition from them before. And now NECC actually has a pocket specifically with Fireheart. So the Echo can play a lot more aggressively this time around, which has been sort of the difference in the first half, where NECC had to play more passively on the Echo due to that lack of survivability.
Little oop straight into the ceiling. Happens to the best of us, but oh man, 2 kills already onto 2 big players from Blugold there. Without your mate, one of your supports, and Raspberry, it's definitely back to spawn.
That was a tough engagement from Blugold B. It's often more advised to go across the cafe than it is to kind of play through that stairwell against a rush comp, right? Because you just don't have the same level of brawl in close that Lincoln Christian does. And so Blugold recognizes that fact, switches over to a rush comp themselves, and they're going to play the Reinhardt mirror, swinging away at each other.
It's hammering time, and we are going to see who will reign supreme. That Symmetra turret slowing down Raspberry just a little bit. Raspberry falls so low, 43 health, but the healing is there. The Fire Strike was too much in the end, and all the damage came through, pushing Blugold back. And, well, those antis have been once again coming up big and putting so much pressure on them. This pick here at the end, though, could have been so critical onto that Mercy.
Excellent movement there from Golden Pants to stay alive as NECC tried to hunt him down, just wasn't doing. And so Lincoln Christian have put themselves excellently postured for a contest or a hold. They've got the Graviton Surge, they've got the Earth Shadow, they're able to stall out. Lincoln Christian really are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and they are holding some really good defensive positions, except for when NECC comes around the back and no one sees him. He already got the pin charge, and of course, Earth Shatter quickly follows up after that duplicate has been built. So much value coming through from that kit that it happens in an instant. Maybe I spoke too soon. Epic Slasher coming up absolutely massive with 2 kills in response, and the DPS from Lincoln are continuing to hold the point down. Oh man,
this will be the closeout here. Yes, Logs actually comes in with the Death Blossom just to prevent anyone from living. Still not done yet as the tank comes back. Zarya looking to contest, but the barriers have been committed. This should really just be the point.
Yeah, trying to burn down just a little bit more time from the time bank before Blugold gets to push forward, but all in all, still gonna cap this first point, and they are trying to finish this map with time in the bank.
That was a bold move from Lincoln Christian. That retake was not, I think they felt that they had a chance to contest because Epic Slasher uses the photon barrier from spawn, trying to give a defensive ability for the tanks to kind of work with, but numbers advantage too great there for Lincoln Christian if they go down. So now on the retake, you have still a chance to kind of contest, but the high ground really is in Blugold's advantage. You can see Logos trying to chase everyone away. Just farming up ultimate utility here.
Man, and this engagement on the high ground shows you just how valuable this position is. Fireheart gets a big res onto Raspberry, but pays the price with her own life. Raspberry throws a shatter straight into J6's personal bubble, and unfortunately has to back off and give more space.
Yeah, that's extremely expensive for Blugold B, right? They thought they had an advantage. They thought they had an opportunity. But Lincoln Christian, I mean, they just give ground. They don't overcommit to their fight, and as a result, you know, all that utility that was used is just kind of thrown away.
2 DPSs have gone down opening up this fight, but it's the grab coming through from Lincoln. They've thrown the grab and the wall. It's going to be tough for Blugold to get any damage or support for their other friends on this fight, and that's just going to be a respawn for them.
This needs to be a fight that just is given up here. You can't keep trying to commit to it.
With Grav,
exactly
too.
that. Yeah, that's just Blugold leaving the smart play there for sure. You know, need to recontest, resituate yourself, right? Reapproach the problem, if you will. And for Blugold, if you can kind of commit with this, use the nano boost here to walk in, and then just deny the Earth Shatter. That'll be a good start.
And that is a lot of pressure on Raspberry's shoulders to deny that Earth Shatter. Another grenade has come through, making both MX and Frixer antied. The Diva Bomb does manage to find a kill in the process, and Logs gets slept mid-Death Blossom. Here's another duplicate of the Reinhardt. We saw how much value this brought last time, and Shatter has been charged up fast once again. Thrown right away, manages to catch just Golden Pants on the side, but Lincoln still trying to do their best at holding strong on this point. They've not given up any additional space even after all of those resources were committed.
It's going to have to be back to the drawing board for Blugold. That was the fight they needed to win because they used basically everything, right? Raspberry nearly up to the Shatter here yet again, but I mean, Blugold, they need to get past this choke. They need to get past this main entryway. Lincoln Christian has just denied any high ground control, which is where Blugold would get advantage, right? They've got the echo in the sky. I mean, this Graviton here is going to get a big difference.
Yeah, and we've seen it used pretty early. There it is already. They're trying to keep their friend alive here, and the Nano's committed onto Raspberry on top of it. 4 people shattered in response, though, and Lincoln just beams everyone down. Look at how high charged both Symmetra and Zarya are. Nasty.
Back yet again, 30 seconds on the clock here in the last potential fight. And Blugold have looked so strong throughout the series, but Lincoln Christian at the very ends of the map have really taken control of the tempo. And here, I mean, Lincoln Christian again, another wall.
Oh, but this time, GCD James has been taken down first. That's a lot of front damage and shield out of the picture. They only have the wall to dance around, but it is plenty for them as Money Matt takes the visor out from the high ground, gets all the auto headshots, no problem, and Blugold, with 5 seconds left, it's not looking bright. They are going to have to try and do everything they can to stall at this point, but more of them are falling one after another. Death Blossom does get a little bit of value, but it is going to be Raspberry here rolling on the point, trying to keep it alive, as we've seen many a Hammond do. And more friends to join the party. They got a kill onto Golden Pants, and that could give them a bit of momentum, but this grab is bad. They're all grouped up, and they've all been cleaved through right afterwards. OT Bar is almost out once again, as it's going to be very quick, and Lincoln holding very strong defensively.
Excellent rotation of ultimates and resources from Lincoln Christian at the tail end of the map for sure. They've taken the 2-0 here, and a really strong performance from them in this situation.
This was a hero tire.
Yeah, this was that flank tire, the overtime one. It just doesn't quite close out enough. Yeah, there it is. But you know, not quite close enough, right? So Lincoln Christian, they do a phenomenal job. I think the biggest adaptation they made from round 1 of this series was the fact that their ultimate rotations have been much cleaner, right? That's something that no matter what level of Overwatch you kind of play at, you have to recognize that if you keep enough utility from fight to fight to have something to work with, right?
Right.
And allow your team opportunities to charge up their resources. Because it's not just about having those ultimates, right? Think of it like the Graviton Surge. Yes, it coalesces everyone and it makes it easier to damage. It also charges up your DPS players' ultimates, right? Because they're firing into the Graviton Surge. So they'll have that for the next fight, and obviously the Earth Shatter and so on. So all of these things together mean that Link and Christian, when it comes push comes to shove in those fights that they absolutely need to win, they have the resources available to them, and that is a big reason as to why they're up 2-0 here at the halfway point of our series.
Yeah, and I think that Lincoln also did a good job on that last map of really spreading out their team in a way that was difficult for Blue Gold to take advantage of. Usually, when we see teams very split, it opens you up to a lot of flanking and pick potential. But Blue Gold was playing that very tight, closely grouped type of team composition, which in turn gave people like Master Yi and who is playing Soldier?
Money Matt.
Money Matt. Yes, thank you. Master Yi and Money Matt way on the far sides of the map, just
And
shooting long range down sight free fire.
to that point, right, the flank was available a couple of times, and uh, uh, Blue Gold actually tried to take advantage of it. Right, we saw the Echo MX coming on the flank, but when your Ana player is able to duel the DPS and actually get
Uh,
the upper hand or force the player to retreat, then the flank is essentially closed. And so that was another reason as to why that opportunity was not available to the offensive team. So
yeah.
definitely credit to Lincoln Christian. It's not that Blue Gold is playing poorly. It's just that Lincoln Christian has stepped up to the occasion tremendously, and
Hmm.
has executed very cleanly to give themselves this 2-0 lead.
Well, I think that the first defensive hold from Blue Gold originally definitely lit a fire under Lincoln Christian. They were not ready to be pushed all the way to OT and just barely capped the first point by the skin of their teeth. And it seems like since that happened, they've been more serious. They're catching the mistakes coming through from Blue Gold and really, like you said, utilizing those ultimates in a much more optimal fashion.
It also seems that defensively, in terms of like the speed at which the game plays, Lincoln Christian is much more favored, or much more
Ooh.
comfortable, I suppose I should say. Right? They
Yeah.
when their opponent is aggressing into them seems to be their preferred position. Right? We saw on Control, once they got the objective, they were able to actually stand their ground. And
Mhm.
I think the big example of that was Mecha Base on Busan. Once they took the
Ooh.
objective, they really were in control all the time. And here, obviously, on Hollywood, very similar story. So clearly something to keep an eye out on as we head to map number 3 in just a moment. Rialto, as it's upcoming, is definitely definitely a sense of like that first point especially, and the first and second point I should say, very heavily defensively favored once you get to those corners.
Yeah.
That kind of establish the midway point of each stage.
And you talked about those defensive points and corners, and in particular, Rialto has those archways as well, just after first and second point. And we just saw how good both teams were at defending these archway funnel points. So I gotta say, I'm actually really excited to see them come out on Rialto in a map that has so many opportunities to show us some of that quality Overwatch they had on Hollywood.
Certainly, and I think the adaptation I want to see from Blue Gold Esports B here at this point in time is to commit to the right fights. I think right now
Hmm.
the difference between the score line for me, if I'm a Blue Gold viewer, is that they're committing to every fight that they think they have an advantage. You don't need to, right?
That's true.
Um, that's not the most optimal way of playing the game, in my opinion. And I think there's times where you can give up on a fight because you know you're not getting a chance of winning it. And then coming back into the next fight where you have all the advantages. We saw this on Busan actually, on Sanctuary on the first stage, right? Where they were in control, lost the objective, came back into the next fight with no resources, and were allowed to lose that fight, and came into the penultimate fight with everything on the table, right? So I
Right.
think we haven't seen that from them since that stage, and that has been a difference maker, in my opinion, for some of the score lines that we kind of see.
Yeah, you're right, and they did do some very good. I think they're called economy pushes, where you're just trying to build those resources for yourself and create those advantages while forcing out the opposing team's advantages. And Grav is definitely one of those ultimates where it can end a fight before it begins, and it can shut down a lot of potential for, I mean, for anyone to move into the correct position. So have to see how prematurely those are used and how quickly they get charged up. So far, though, Epic Slasher charged across the way, does manage to find a little bit of value, but has to. Oh man, he gets taken down instead. Okay, Doomfist loses a bit of a one-on-one duel there, but that's all right. Still got some close respawns for Lincoln. They're gonna give a little space and regroup.
I have to be quite frank. Running into a room with a Sigma and a Junkrat is certainly a bold.
It's a lot of CC.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the most awful playthrough, but hey, sometimes it works, and when it does, you look like an absolute genius. For Lincoln Christian, though, it is going to have to be a reset. Epic Slash are going to switch over to Symmetra. Yeah, it's tough to play Doomfist against what's coming through here, so a smart place, specifically from Lincoln Christian. Blugold, on the other hand, a ton of value gained from that fight, right? Look at the ultimates. That's the Riptire going to be up at about 20%. You've got the Amplification Matrix very swiftly as well, and I mean, you're starting to build to, that kind of rotation that we talked about earlier in the series. And if they keep that going, then this map's looking good for them.
Oh, crispy from the dynamite. And looks like James took a bit of a swim in the process. We have the Riptire online, and well, we don't even need to use it yet, LaFawn. I thought we were going to get ready on the high ground, and everyone went down.
Yeah, speaking of taking a swim, I want to see what the percentage of, like, people who know how to swim compared to the percentage of Overwatch people who know how to swim. Because, like, how do none of these characters know how to swim? You go over the edge into the water and you're just gone.
No, in their defense, armor is heavy. And in Real Wars, fun fact, Real Wars, a lot of armor has been very hindering to people who have been trying to approach. Looks like got a little bit of a game freeze here, though. How